Hi, I'm Foxazomos. 2.5 years ago, I made my first ever fully edited video, SMG4 Lore Explained. It's very old and the quality is pretty bad, but somehow it's still got 750,000 views, which I'm extremely thankful for. I got so many people asking me for a part 2, but I couldn't actually make another SMG4 recap video because I already explained all the lore there was, so I made some other videos. And now, 2.5 years later, almost 3 years, there's more than enough lore for another full SMG4 Lore Explained video, so let's get started. The last thing I explained in the previous video was the Revelations movie. After that, a new arc pretty quickly started, although it's not really an arc because it's really short and it doesn't have a playlist in the arcs section of SMG4's channel. It's more like a mini arc, I guess, since it only has 3 videos. So the story starts with everybody in Saiko's apartment. She tries to sing a song, but Mario goes to take a piss and sees a very mysterious door. He tries opening it, but Saiko stops him. This makes Mario very curious and he wants to know what's behind the door. So after a lot of chaos, Mario manages to enter the secret room. He finds a laptop. This is the laptop with Saiko's game, the same one Boopkins brought her out of. Everybody is confused why she has this, but Saiko refuses to give an explanation. After a few days, Saiko kidnaps Tari and forces her to bring her friend Kaizo from her game, cause you know, Tari's Metal Runner arm can do that. In the game, Saiko and Kaizo were famous and had a band called KS2. They were also very rebellious and did illegal things, and now after a few years, they finally reunited, and Kaizo quickly turns Saiko into a bad person again. So Tari and Luigi bring her back with their love and friendship, and that pisses Kaizo off, so he leaves. Then one day, Mario kidnaps all his friends and forces them to participate in his meme games. After some games, it's time for the final challenge, the SMG4 crew versus Mario and his big machine. Everyone gets their asses kicked, so Saiko and Kaizo decide to team up and start playing a song that powers everyone up, and the fight continues. During the battle, Saiko touches Kaizo and this transforms Saiko's body. During the time Saiko was outside of the game, it got a few updates, including a graphics update, so touching Kaizo probably updated Saiko to her newest form in the game. Kaizo apologizes to Saiko for being so hard on her and promises to be less chaotic. Saiko forgives him, and so they form their band once again. KS2 is back. Alright, that was Saiko's mini arc. Now let's move on to the 7th SMG4 arc, the lawsuit arc. Mario and SMG4 are just chilling, when suddenly this goofy ass monkey shows up. This is Larry Kong. He was sent to Peach's castle by Nintendo to take Mario. They need him to make a new Nintendo game, but Mario obviously doesn't want to go. After catching him, Larry Kong uses an IP ownership act, which allows him to take Mario to Nintendo fully by force. So at Nintendo, Miyamoto, the CEO of Nintendo, is making a new game with Mario. Luckily, Meggy shows up and saves him, so Miyamoto sends Larry Kong to Peach's castle again. And this time, Larry Kong ain't playing around. He whips out a DMCA and threatens SMG4 with it. Basically, what a DMCA will do is it will force SMG4 to stop making Mario videos, and his channel will be deleted. So Mario obviously leaves, but Miyamoto shows up slightly pissed that Larry Kong went to such extreme lengths and uses Luigi, who's gardening, and takes him instead. So Mario stays. The next day, Mario is walking around and sees that everybody is acting strange. They're acting like how they would in the Nintendo games. So Mario and Luigi go out for a walk until they find this weird area. If you remember from the Genesis arc, when SMG4 showed up in the Mushroom Kingdom, he spread his memes like a disease and turned everyone stupid to make videos. So Larry Kong got permission from Miyamoto to split the Mushroom Kingdom into 2 parts, the Mushroom Kingdom and this trashy place. And they're separated with a border that cannot be crossed. So who is on the other side exactly? Well, it's Maggie and SMG4 and characters that don't fully belong to Nintendo. And on the Mushroom Kingdom side, everyone is turning from their normal form to their Nintendo form. So Bowser, for example, he's no longer a neglectful father anymore. Now he's trying to steal the princess again. And oh, Luigi just turned as well. Some kind of car shows up and yoinks a bunch of non-Nintendo characters and puts them in some kind of jail, and Mario sneakily went with them. There, he convinces Miyamoto to let everyone out, which this lawyer dude really appreciated, so Mario asks him to help his friends, but then he turns into his original Nintendo form. The lawyer dude walks up to SMG4 and Maggie and gives them a temporary IP change contract, so they sign it, and now they can cross that big border that was keeping them out of the Mushroom Kingdom, but it also changes their appearance. Alright, so now we're all of a sudden in Splatoon. Miyamoto is recording some stuff with Mario for some kind of Mario Splatoon crossover. After they're done, SMG4 and Maggie show up. They go on an adventure to try and get Mario's memories back, and after some time, he turns into his normal dumbass self again, with the help of memes, which are apparently illegal in the Inco police, so now they're being chased by the police. By the way, SMG4 and Maggie changed back because the IP change contract wore off. During the chase, they capture Luigi and hop into an RV which they used to escape, but in doing so, they really pissed off Larry Kong. So now they're stranded in the desert in the RV. They use a meme to turn Luigi back into his regular version as well, and now they split up. SMG4 wants to look for something very important with Maggie, while Mario and Luigi stay in the RV. In the RV, they create a bunch of memes and give them to the people of the Mushroom Kingdom who were turned back into their Nintendo versions, and giving them memes makes them stupid again. But eventually, Mario and Luigi get captured. At the jail cell, Miyamoto gets pissed, but Larry Kong quickly shows what a dumbass Mario is because of the memes, which makes him sad. So Larry Kong tries to convince Miyamoto to sign that DMCA, but Mario and Luigi manage to distract him for a little bit. Meanwhile, back to Maggie and SMG4. They went into the Wikipedia castle. They look for the law section, and when they find it, they look for the parody law book. I haven't mentioned this yet, but apparently Maggie went to law school partially, which like totally out of nowhere. Since when do they have a law school in Inkopolis? And doesn't she want to be a sports coach? Doesn't matter. Maggie reads the parody law book and writes something on a paper, which should save SMG4 and all his friends from the DMCA. So they're on their way to the Mushroom Kingdom. Miyamoto brought a judge and is about to sign the DMCA because Larry Kong convinced him so. Maggie and SMG4 show up and almost show the parody contract to the judge, but Larry Kong stopped them and Miyamoto signed the DMCA. So all the SMG4 characters except Mario and Luigi literally die. Just like that one time in the YouTube arc. But this time, SMG4 completely deletes his channel, and Mario is forced to work with Nintendo. After some time of working at Nintendo, Mario takes a piss break. Then a little piece of paper falls out of his hat, and the lawyer guy from before notices it. He explains to Mario it's a parody contract, and if he brings it in front of a judge, he can undo the DMCA and bring his friends back. Right before Maggie was deleted, she sneakily put the parody contract in Mario's hat, so Mario escapes Nintendo, gets to the judge, and shows him the parody contract. So all of Mario's friends are back, but the trial isn't over yet. SMG4 doesn't have a lawyer, so Maggie will represent him, and Larry Kong will represent Nintendo. The judge has a hard time deciding if the defendants are guilty or not, so it's time for WOTFI 2022. Larry Kong forces the Nintendo SMG4 characters to battle against the non-Nintendo SMG4 characters. After a bunch of challenges, the rap battle begins. After that, the judge decides that SMG4 is innocent, but wait, it was Miyamoto in disguise. But it's fine, he's chill. But he has one condition. SMG4 and SMG3 can't look like Mario, and Bob and Bookins also have to get a change. So they get new models. Lawyer Kong decides to change his profession to selling weapons and funky dancing. And that's the lawsuit arc. I kinda wanna talk about some stuff now. First off, Larry Kong has got to be the goofiest SMG4 villain by far. He was really cruel to SMG4 and his friends for very dull reasons. I think he just didn't like them. He didn't really have a real motivation. And in the end, he got away with everything and no one was even mad at him. And that's kinda just okay? I mean, every villain so far has at least gotten some kind of punishment, but whatever, I guess. If I'm being honest, after the lawsuit arc is when SMG4 lost his title of being my favorite YouTuber. He's still in my favorites for sure, but I kinda really don't like the lawsuit arc. It's not bad, it's just that I personally don't like the new models, mainly because I think it's pointless. Luke said it's to avoid being actually sued by Nintendo, but like, Nintendo can still sue them just as much as long as they have Mario, and they can't remove or change Mario's design or personality in any way, because that's the literal core of SMG4, so the redesigns are ultimately pointless, especially since the old videos with the OG Nintendo 3D models still exist. They can get sued for those, and to be honest, the new designs look really bad. I'm not talking about these, the new ones, they look fine I guess, and I've gotten used to them, though sometimes I really miss the old versions. Now let me tell you what really ticked me off. This dug deep into my soul, the recasting of Tari and Maggie. Now, I want you to keep in mind that this is only my opinion and what I think. Maggie and Tari are one of, if not my favorite SMG4 characters. I've really gotten attached to them over the years, especially their voices. I don't know why, but I really liked their voice actors. They were just so good and they fit the character so perfectly. I really don't know why, but I really love the OG Maggie voice actor. She was so good. You could tell she really understood Maggie's personality and she brought so much life to Maggie. She was just perfect. I always get mad in any shows when voice actors get recasted. It's just not the same, but this really bothers me. I'll never get used to the new Tari and Maggie voices. I love the previous ones too much. And also, we were never told why they changed the voice actors. I'm pretty sure there was a big controversy about SMG4 firing Tari's voice actor for no reason. If you think I'm complaining too much, I'm pretty sure there's YouTube videos talking about similar topics. Once again, I still love SMG4 and his videos. I'm still a big fan. It's why I made this video. So now that I've got a bunch of things off my chest, I'll continue explaining the lore. Up next, it's the It's Gotta Be Perfect movie. SMG3 became really popular with his streams, and SMG4 is kinda jealous, since his view count has been a little stale for quite some time, so SMG4 starts making a bunch of videos to get more views. But they all perform terribly, so he makes more and more videos until he resorts to slavery, which allows him to pump out a lot of videos. So SMG3 exposes and cancels SMG4. After some time, SMG3 helps SMG4 get back on his feet. He teaches him that people care about quality more than quantity. So together they make a short, high quality video, and it does really well. SMG4 is popular again. And this gives SMG4 an idea. If people really care about quality above all else, then he's gonna make the best video ever. It's gonna be perfect. So he locks himself in his room and gets to work. Anytime someone needed him or just wanted to hang out, SMG4 would reject them to work on his video. So over time, he becomes more and more obsessed with his perfect video until he reaches his breaking point. Mario hosted a party, and in the chaos, the Wi-Fi router got disconnected. So SMG4 finally left his room looking all crazy and stuff. He literally starts beating people up, fixes the Wi-Fi, and locks himself in his room, where he continues to spiral into insanity. Sometime later, an ad pops up on SMG4's computer, a keyboard that is guaranteed to make his work perfect. So he buys it, and it immediately gets delivered. Now this keyboard is some kind of special magic keyboard. Try to guess what it can do. Really try to guess what this keyboard did. This totally random keyboard from a random ad completely corrupts the whole castle with Maggie and SMG3 still inside. So they walk up to SMG4, who's completely gone insane and looks like he's corrupted too. So he tries to sink SMG3 and Maggie into his eldritch goo, but they manage to escape. Outside the castle, they meet their other friends who wanted to enter the castle, but then the tentacles blocked it off, so the whole gang start fighting against them. But it's no use, and Maggie, Mario, and SMG3 were yeeted back inside the castle. So they start looking for SMG4 again. After a lot of exploring and fighting, they manage to find SMG4. He tries to drown them in his eldritch goo again, but SMG3 does something he's never done before. He gives SMG4 a very emotional speech, which SMG4 really needed, and it turned him back to normal. So they leave the castle, but SMG4 physically can't leave before he finishes his perfect video. So SMG3 stays behind to help him finish it. Outside the castle, there's a lot of commotion. The gang called the military to help them take down the castle, but it doesn't work. Saiko says that the only way to save the Mushroom Kingdom is to sink the castle, which makes no sense cause as long as they're not attacking the castle, it's just chilling. But they start sinking the castle with explosives anyway while SMG3 and 4 are still in there. Luckily, they managed to finish the video together and escape the castle, which is now fully sunken. SMG3 and 4 are holding on for dear life in the sinkhole. SMG4 drops the USB with the video on it in order to save SMG3. Together, they both managed to escape the sinkhole, so in the end, SMG4 lost his video, no one died, the castle is gone forever, and we still don't know what the deal was with that random ass keyboard. But that doesn't matter right now, because the castle is gone. That was the home of the SMG4 crew for more than 10 years, and now it's gone. So to make things right, SMG4 decides that they'll make a new castle, and everybody likes that idea, so they walk off into the sunset. A few weeks pass and the new castle is almost built. It's located here, the showgrounds, which also has a bunch of other stuff, not just the castle. The engineers told SMG4 they need a power star, which was inside the old castle. So Mario, SMG4, SMG3 and Maggie return to the sinkhole. They jump in and look around a little bit. They go through a cave and they find the old castle, but then Peach shows up. Turns out they left her stranded here, and over time she turns into this spider thing. When they're done fighting Peach, they find the power star, so they leave, and a few days later, the castle is finally finished. Now is it just me, or is it a lot smaller than the previous castle? And it kinda looks like a circus, doesn't it? Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Western Spaghetti, the 5th SMG4 movie. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the 5th one, if you don't count the WOTFIs. Alright, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But you know what does matter? Tari. Finally, she matters. Western Spaghetti is Tari's first major role since the Waluigi arc. You know, the one where she was also first introduced. And did I mention she got a redesign? I prefer the original, but this one is high quality and it looks alright, so it's fine. In the movie, Tari still has her original voice actor, so that was also nice. Okay, so, Maggie lost her iconic beanie, which is a very big deal. When Maggie was a little kid, she was obsessed with One-Shot Ren. He was the Splatfest champion, winning multiple Splatfests in a row. One day during a Splatfest, Maggie innocently walked up to him, so One-Shot Ren gave her his beanie, said something motivational, and left. And since then, he's been Maggie's idol, and she cherishes that beanie very much. So she's freaking out now that she lost it, and starts looking for it with Tari. Tari eventually figures out where it is because she saw it on the news, so Maggie and Tari go there. Maggie gets her beanie back from some inkling brats, then Tari and Maggie see One-Shot Ren's statue being all vandalized and messed up, which really angers Maggie. You see, One-Shot Ren really fell off after he started losing Splatfest, and some people didn't like that, I guess. Maggie and Tari get the idea to find One-Shot Ren, you know, to check up on him. It's been ages since he fell off. Maggie takes off her beanie and reveals a little paper tag with an address. Did she really not know that was there? I mean, surely she saw it already. She's had this beanie for life. Kinda weird. Tari and Maggie go on this location and find a house that's destroyed. They have a little look inside and find a static TV. All of a sudden, it starts playing some kind of commercial. Look, that's One-Shot Ren. So apparently he left Inko Police after he fell off and went into the Wild West, the town of Western Spaghetti. So that's where Maggie and Tari are going next. The SMG4 crew and a lot of side characters are going on a short little vacation with the train, and right before they get on, Maggie and Tari show up. Maggie tells everyone they're going to the Wild West to find her idol, and so they do. Everyone. And Maggie takes over the train. And that's kinda just okay. I thought you guys wanted to go to PP Island for vacation. Ah, whatever. So now everyone's going to the Wild West. Let's cut to when they arrive in the Wild West. Everyone has memory loss. They're all acting like NPCs except for Tari, Maggie, and Mario, I guess. They're looking for One-Shot Ren, but everyone they ask keeps telling them that he's got a bounty and that he's the most feared hunter in the Wild West. Eventually, the three stumble upon the town of Western Spaghetti. They save the townsfolk from some bandits, but then those bandits promise to return the next day with One-Shot Ren. So Maggie tries to train up the town to get them ready. After a long day of training, everybody tries to go to sleep, but not without having some drinks, of course. Hey, is that Desti and Axel? Man, it's good to see them. But like, what's going on? Tari starts freaking out and then Maggie wakes up in some hospital room. And Mario does as well. They walk around a bit until some dancing Mario shows up on a TV, but he quickly starts moving on walls, so Mario and Maggie follow him into a room. In the room there's a PC. It was Tari who brought them here. She tells them that they're in a simulation and that Ren is the one who put them in it. Maggie has some sort of panic attack and then gets really pissed. She finds Ren in this tub and shoots at him, only to get shot herself. Turns out, she never left the simulation. Alright, let me explain. Back when everyone was on the train, someone threw some kind of toxic flashbangs that knocked everyone out. They were then all kidnapped and put in the Matrix, and it's all One-Shot Ren's doing. You see, after he started losing Splatfest, Ren slowly lost everything. His friends, fame, his house, and all that, until one day he happened to stumble upon this lab. He entered the simulation and has never left. He's in this big tank, so he's in charge of the simulation. He gets to live in a world where he's always on top. There's one thing that's missing though. He wants a rival, and it's going to be Maggie, the last Splatfest champion. So he put her and all her friends in his simulation. Maggie obviously refuses, so what is Ren gonna do now? Bully her into submission, or should I say torture. When Maggie wakes up at a random time from a random spot, Ren shoots Maggie. When she respawns, he does the same thing, and Maggie never catches him. A month of this passes, and she's gone insane. So Tari manages to convince her to follow her to some lake. Maggie gets her sanity back somehow, and Tari shows her her secret portal. They enter it and end up in the digital ether. If you don't know, Tari is a Meta Runner. Meta Runners have Meta Runner arms, which makes them better at games. But Tari's Meta Runner arm is special. It allows her to go inside games, so she's obviously an expert in this simulation, virtual reality game stuff. And so she saw through the simulation, but she acted dumb so Ren wouldn't notice. But secretly she's been working on this digital ether hideout that Ren wouldn't be able to enter or know about. When she finally finished it, she took Maggie into it. They have a quick moment together, and then they devise a plan. They leave the digital ether and return to Western Spaghetti. The SMG4 crew is about to be hung by Chris and Swag and Ren, but Maggie shows up up and duels Ren. Maggie lets the townsfolk free, Ren summons some minions, and it's a battle. But Ren is in control of the simulation, so he starts cheating, and so does Tari. She brings back and powers up the SMG4 crew. Ren gets distracted by Swag, so Maggie uses this opportunity to catch him at gunpoint. But it doesn't matter cause he can't really die, unless, you know, Tari did something, I guess. Tari does a thing and boom, the Matrix is no more. Maggie and Tari wake up for real this time and see Ren in his tank. He starts freaking out. He wants to bring the simulation to the real world, but the machines can't handle it and the place starts collapsing. So Maggie frees everyone and they all dip out of there, except for Ren. He's gonna die. But doesn't this seem kinda familiar? Yeah, if my calculations are correct, Ren will return one day as a human, just like how Maggie did. That's my theory. I mean, it makes perfect sense, just take a look. Anyway, in the end, everyone is alright, and Maggie and Tari have a stronger bond now.
There's one thing about Tari I forgot to talk about in this video. One day her arm suddenly gained consciousness. Its name is Clench. It doesn't do anything, it's just alive now.
Hey, and would you look at that? It's that time of year again. Or was that time of year? Cause this is WOTFI 2023. War of the Fat Italians 2023, baby! So what's this one about? First, let me introduce you to Marty, a piece of cardboard. I think sometimes, very rarely, Mario would tag him along in one of his solo adventures. In the showgrounds, Mario got himself a pizza shop to make some money, but turns out he doesn't like working or giving away his food, so he made Marty do it, and takes all the money he earned. But after some time, Mario apologized to Marty and gave him his money back. Let me show you something. This is SMG3's sussy notebook. He's been writing a lot in it lately. It has all his secrets inside, including certain events that happened in an igloo. One day, SMG3 can't find his notebook. It's missing. Someone stole it. So SMG4, SMG3 and Mario try to figure out who stole it, but they end up accusing each other. SMG3 remembers that he was streaming last night, so he goes to his PC to look at the footage. Turns out, Mario stole it. He runs away from SMG3 and SMG4 and gives the notebook to Marty. Both Mario and Marty want the notebook for their own reasons, but they're unknown. Luckily, SMG3 put a lock on his notebook and only he knows where the key is, so Marty takes the notebook to the top of his casino where his office is and tries to break the lock. Yeah, apparently Marty has a casino. Pretty freaking big one too. I have no idea when or how he got it. So SMG4 and 3 decide that for WOTFI 2023, they're gonna get SMG3's notebook back. So they get a bunch of gadgets and some cool clothes. As for the plan, well, the audience got to make a bunch of choices of how they'll infiltrate the casino, and that's how SMG4 and 3 got their plan. So after a few weeks, they enter the casino. Now, I have something very interesting to tell you. I didn't watch WOTFI 2023 when it came out, so I didn't know or help make any of the choices, but when I was watching the WOTFI when the two options were revealed, I always picked which one I would pick if I got to pick. Toothpicks are for picking, and every single time I never picked the one that was actually picked, except for the very last and first one, Mission 15 and 1, but I still got 13 wrong in a row. That's pretty crazy, and I don't think I'm in the wrong because you guys chose some pretty stupid decisions. I mean, the Spywatch literally went to the lowest rating and SMG3 almost got his notebook leaked. Like, why would you go fishing over murder? Sometimes you just gotta be smart and choose what you think will work instead of what you want. SMG3's sussy notebook was on the line. Anyway, let's just skip to the end of the WOTFI now. It's boss time, and during the fight, Mario reveals why he wanted the notebook. See, back in the day when Mario played Club Penguin, he was so happy. He loved playing with his online friends, but they all left him for a penguin with cooler clothes. That made Mario very sad, so he needs SMG3's notebook to get his Club Penguin clothes. So SMG3 and 4 beat the boss and get the notebook back. So now all they have to do is leave, and while they do, the rap battle starts. Well, I guess they're not really raps anymore, now it's just songs. They're not bad though. But like, why was Maggie singing half of the song in WOTFI 2023? Not only was she not a part of it, she wasn't even there at all. She didn't even appear. What the hell? SMG3 and SMG4 managed to leave the casino with the notebook, so it's all good. But that's not all. SMG3 reveals he's opening up a cafe in the showgrounds, which is where he will also live instead of the internet graveyard. The cafe is called 3's Coffee and Bombs. In it, you can get coffee or buy some explosives. So, to end the WOTFI, SMG3 and 4 have a cup of coffee and watch the sunset. But then, it is revealed why Marty wanted the notebook. One day when he was working in the pizza shop, a TV started glitching, and the printer printed a paper, which says that there's an ultimate secret pizza sauce recipe in SMG3's notebook. So that's why Marty wanted it. Alright guys, after 3 movies, it's finally time. There's a new arc Puzzlevision, the 8th SMG4 arc. So this one starts off with the SMG4 crew chilling in the castle, watching some TV, when suddenly the power goes out. So everyone does some random things to try and get the power back on. Except for Mario, he pretty quickly goes crazy from the lack of electricity and TV, so he chases the whole crew into the basement. They look for the power generator, but instead they find an ominous TV. They stare deeply in it until they get sucked in. So where are they now? They seem to be brainwashed and stuck in a TV show, multiple shows actually, because this is Puzzlevision, created by the one and only Mr. Puzzles. The SMG4 crew spent multiple weeks performing in all of Mr. Puzzles' TV shows. He really wants to get a perfect 5-star rating, so he creates a game show where the brainwashed SMG4 crew are competing in all sorts of games. And Mr. Puzzles is the host, so he can get the audience to get him that perfect 5-star rating. But even though he's brainwashed, Mario still kept his chaotic nature, and he was consistently ruining Mr. Puzzles' game show to the point where his ratings dropped down to 1 star. So Mr. Puzzles got really angry. He put Mario in a cage and put him in this little area right here. Mr. Puzzles got so pissed off by Mario, he himself started destroying everything, which allowed Mario to escape. He walks into some kind of static void which consumes him, and he's out. He escaped Puzzlevision, so he goes back to the castle to watch some TV. Mr. Puzzles needs Mario for his shows obviously, so he puts Puzzlevision on maintenance. The TV Mario is watching transforms into Mr. Puzzles, who is still really mad, and Mario gets mad cause he was watching Teletubbies. So they fight. Mario hurts Mr. Puzzles, so he runs away. Oh, but Mario is not gonna let this slide. Taking away his TV time? Nuh-uh. So he starts looking for Mr. Puzzles, who escaped to his lair. Being all pissed off and stuff, decides to mess around with the SMG4 cast a little. He unwashes their brains, or unbrainwashes them? He explains some stuff and then explains some more stuff by singing, which I'll do right now. Not sing, I'll just explain. When Mr. Puzzles was a kid, he never had any friends. He was very lonely. The only thing he enjoyed doing was watching TV. He was so invested that it became all he ever wanted to do, to entertain and create his own shows. So at some point, he cut off his head and replaced it with a TV. I don't know where he got all his powers though, that's not explained. And so he's been trying to get a perfect 5-star rating since then, because that will give him creative control. In real life. Yeah, he's gonna be able to control the SMG4 crew fully in real life, not just in his head/TV dimension. So he made the SMG4 crew his puppets and uses them to try and get that perfect 5-star rating he dreams so much about. The 3 movies I was explaining earlier were all orchestrated by Mr. Puzzles, if you couldn't already guess. He's the one who sold SMG4 that corrupted keyboard, he's the one who gave One-Shot Ren his simulation, and he's the one who tricked Marty with the fake pizza sauce recipe. And he kinda mocks the SMG4 crew by telling them how good their performances were. You know, cause they thought it was real. Right now, they're inside Mr. Puzzles' head, the TV dimension, where all his channels and shows are, so they can't really hurt Mr. Puzzles. He splits them in teams of 2 and puts them in random channels. In each one, they spend a really long time trying to get out to enter a different channel. Maggie and Tari manage to figure out how they can escape Puzzlevision. They have to go into channel 999. SMG4 and SMG3 made Bob the Builder make a radio tower, which they use to send Mario their location. I don't really know how that works, but Mr. Puzzles does have an antenna, so sure I guess. Bob and Boopkins are in South Park and use their 3D graphics to break the show and escape the channels. They free all their other friends and together they go into channel 999. There they meet Mr. Puzzles, and he's got some great news. He finally got 5 perfect stars, giving him full creative control in real life. So he lets the crew escape, only to take control of them in real life. With them, he starts broadcasting his best show yet, one where everyone can join. But then Mario finally shows up. He gets brainwashed, but he trips on something and makes a mess, which causes him to get unbrainwashed and slightly dropping down the ratings and giving the SMG4 crew a tiny bit of control. So Mario keeps being a nuisance until the ratings drop enough for our crew to escape. They go to the castle where they start making their own show. At this point, Mr. Puzzles has surely had enough. He runs over to SMG4's castle and tries to kill everyone, but then SMG4's show gets 5 stars. 5.5 actually somehow, and so just like that, Mr. Puzzles is defeated. He cries a little, turns into a TV, gets smashed, and yeeted away. But that's not the end of the arc yet. That was just a few videos in the Puzzlevision movie. We got a little more left. But let's talk a little bit about the Puzzlevision movie. It was kinda underwhelming. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed watching the Puzzlevision movie. It's good, and there really isn't anything wrong with it. but it was a little underwhelming, that's all. The Puzzlevision saga started in the It's Gotta Be Perfect movie, March 2023. The Puzzlevision movie came out in April 2024, and between these two dates, there was a lot of hype about this TV entity, especially because of how well they kept teasing it. Most people were expecting a lot of story and lore reveals, and you can't really blame them for that. When the movie finally came out, all we got was a short backstory explained in 2 minutes with a song, but maybe that's what they're going for. Maybe they just wanted to make a cartoonish and simple villain, and if that's all they were going for, then that's fine. They did do it pretty well if that's what they were doing. Mr. Puzzles is quite entertaining. Overall, great movie, but a little underwhelming. There's a channel called No Null, which you have to check out if you're an SMG4 fan. He makes lots of SMG4 videos, and some of his own stuff. He actually makes his own version of Mr. Puzzles' backstory and lore, which also expands on Larry Kong. Please go check out No Null's channel and his Puzzlevision video. Link is in the description. Now back to the story. After the Puzzlevision movie, things turned back to normal, until one day Mario found Mr. Puzzles' broken head while digging in some garbage and showed it to SMG4. The two of them then get sucked into the TV. After one Dora the Explorer parody, SMG4 and Mario return to the real world. And then, the TV turns into Mr. Puzzles. He's back, but a little weaker this time. He doesn't have all his powers, so he's friendly now. And he gave up on his dreams of achieving a perfect 5-star rating. He offers SMG4 help with his show, but secretly, he just wants to steal SMG4's show for himself. But SMG4 doesn't really care and just leaves to go work on his secret project. For some reason, SMG4 wants tourists in the showgrounds, so he's working on a meme factory. He needs some memes to complete it, so he goes meme hunting with Meggy. Meggy gets squished by a meme and therefore is a meme now. Meet Leggy. After SMG4 gets all his memes, he builds his meme factory, and Meggy still hasn't turned back to normal. Out in the forest, Mr. Puzzles creates a plan on how to steal SMG4's fame. He has to sneak into SMG4's meme factory, enter the comedy zone, and take the spotlight, but Leggy stops him before he can even get inside. The meme factory's security activates and blasts Mr. Puzzles, which sends Leggy and him inside his head, so another parody starts. Despicable Me. Mr. Puzzles steals the moon with his minions and Leggy. Throughout this parody, Leggy was very kind to Mr. Puzzles, even though he hates her. So when they both wake up, they become friends. So Leggy is now on Mr. Puzzles' side, and she seems to really like him. Mr. Puzzles, who has never loved or even had a friend, is simply just annoyed by Leggy, making them a great duo. Together, they infiltrate the meme factory. They face a lot of different challenges, but they beat them all and reach the comedy zone. Now they have to take down the final boss, SMG4. Leggy saves Mr. Puzzles' life, and he's actually grateful for that, making Leggy very happy. Together, they take down SMG4, and Mr. Puzzles finally has the spotlight and is about to steal SMG4's fame. But then SMG4 pulls Mario out of his ass. Mr. Puzzles' biggest weakness, and Mario just turns Meggy back to normal. Just like that. Leggy is no more. Damn, Leggy was Mr. Puzzles' first friend, and now Mario ruined everything for Mr. Puzzles. Again. But at least Mr. Puzzles manages to escape before he gets captured or anything. But wait, even though Meggy's back and she isn't a meme anymore, she remembers her time as Leggy with Mr. Puzzles. And that's the end of the Puzzlevision arc. Or should I say arcs, cause the whole Puzzlevision arc is kinda split into two different arcs. First you have the Puzzlevision arc, and then the shorter second arc about the meme factory. Either way, Mr. Puzzles is still not done yet. He did get some revenge on Mario after the arc by stealing his mustache and making him lose the funny, but that was very short-lived. Fun fact, during the whole Puzzlevision arc, Mario was an animal for the whole video 4 different times. What's that? You want another fun fact? For sure, I got you, bro. Here's a completely random one I discovered myself. These two characters have extremely similar names. Evelyn Claythorne, a villain from Metal Runner, and Evelyn Clawthorne, a very minor but important character from the Owl House. What a crazy coincidence, eh? It's WOTFI 2024, and you guessed it, Mr. Puzzles came back again for this one. But before I get to the WOTFI, there's quite a lot to explain first. So, Mr. Puzzles has reached his lowest point. He's still trying to entertain, but literally doesn't have a budget, so he resorts to becoming a TV vending machine to get some cash. Some kids started watching some brain rot, which Mr. Puzzles found revolting, but it also gives him an idea. If this is what kids want these days, then that's just what he'll have to do. So he creates a channel named Puzzlebox, and his brain rot content becomes an instant hit. Mr. Puzzles finally has his fame. Kinda, because anyone who's not a kid just makes fun of him now, and Mr. Puzzles doesn't really like making such brainless slop. He wants to make more artistic and creative stuff, so he quits Puzzlebox and cancels it. The next day, he gets kidnapped by Goofy and Aladdin. They bring him to the CEO of Disney, Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse noticed how popular Puzzlebox was and wants to hire Mr. Puzzles as a creative director, but Mr. Puzzles didn't quit Puzzlebox just to return to the same mindless content at Disney, so he refuses, but Mickey Mouse insists and shows him around. During their tour, we see the engine room. It has this core which powers everything Disney creates and everything Disney is. It also powers the most magical place of all, Disney World, which is where Mickey Mouse takes Mr. Puzzles next, and so a flashback starts. Little Mr. Puzzles is telling his dad how he dreams of owning his own amusement park and seeing everyone have fun, but his dad thinks that's pathetic and insults him. So after the tour, Mickey Mouse asks Mr. Puzzles if he still doesn't want to join, and Mr. Puzzles has a change of heart, in the opposite direction. He kills Mickey Mouse, and just like that, he takes over Disney. Yup, the whole company and everything. He's the new CEO, so he finally creates his own theme park that he dreamed so much about as a kid, Puzzle Park. But before he does that, he needs something. He wants Leggy back, his only and best friend, and his sidekick. So he breaks into Maggie's house and asks her to join him as Leggy. After she refuses, he starts crushing and dismembering Maggie back into Leggy, by force. And it works, Leggy is back. So now his theme park, Puzzle Park, is finished and he's got Leggy back. Leggy invites the SMG4 crew into an unknown magical place, which is just Puzzle Park. So they all obviously try to leave, but Mario runs off, so they all chase after him and end up splitting up and playing some games. And one by one, they all get sucked into some kind of void. Yep, Mr. Puzzles captured them all. And guess what else he did? He merged with the Disney core in the engine room I was talking about earlier, so now he has a bunch of new powers and control and stuff. He truly got everything back this time. And so WOTFI 2024 starts now. Everyone in the SMG4 crew is brainwashed again to perform at Puzzle Park except for SMG4 and Mario. They're in the Tunnel of Fun, where Mr. Puzzles and Leggy greet them. They get to try out all the fun games before Puzzle Park opens up to the public, so the games begin. Nothing much really happens next, just, you know, the usual war of the fat Italian games and challenges, until they eventually run away during a game and start chasing after poor Leggy to try and bring Maggie back. Mr. Puzzles guides her where to run through the cameras until SMG4 blinds them all, so Mario corners and turns Maggie back to normal. Just like that. Again, Maggie knows where the engine room is, so the three start running to it while Mr. Puzzles tries to stop them. And so during the chase, the WOTFI 2024 song starts. When they reach the engine room, they fight Mr. Puzzles, who is obviously extremely pissed off at this point and starts causing mass destruction and chaos to stop SMG4, Mario, and Maggie. Maggie jumps right into Mr. Puzzles and enters his head, I guess? In his head, she finds Kid Mr. Puzzles. She turns into Leggy to comfort and talk to him, basically repealing Mr. Puzzles' growth in the meme factory part of the Puzzlevision arc. And so Mr. Puzzles is defeated and turns back to normal, but now he learned a lesson. He doesn't care about fame or ratings anymore, and only wants to make friends and chase new dreams with them. But it's a little too late. The cops are here. They put Mr. Puzzles in a jail cell with a lot of security, but at least he has Leggy 2.0 to talk to. Will we ever see Mr. Puzzles again? I don't know, but that's the end of WOTFI 2024, and also the end of this video. Yeah, there's no more lore to explain. If I had to describe the entirety of the Mr. Puzzle saga and lore and his character, I would say wasted potential. That's all. Mr. Puzzles was a pretty entertaining guy, but man, so much wasted potential. They could have done so much more with him and handled him so much better, but it is what it is now. I think I already did some yapping and complaining in this video, so if you want a more detailed explanation of why Puzzlevision as a whole is wasted potential, please go check out the No Null channel. I strongly suggest you do it. So I guess I don't have much more to talk about. I hope you enjoyed my second SMG4 Lore explain video. I might make another one in a few years when there's more lore, or maybe a different kind of SMG4 video. You can leave any suggestions in the comment section if you want. I read all the comments. But I might also not make another SMG4 video. Ever. The lawsuit arc was pretty bad, and after the lawsuit arc, SMG4 kind of fell off a little. I'm just talking how I personally feel right now. I really miss Tari and Maggie's original voices. I swear, their personalities changed with the new voices, and they're really not fitting at all. Not to mention the unnecessary redesigns, I already talked about those. But I noticed something that honestly is just depressing to see. There's literally no more Super Mario 64 usage in SMG4 whatsoever. I always loved the combination of Gmod and Mario 64. They worked so well together, and Luke was really good at using M64 in his vids. I'm a very OG SMG4 fan, so seeing this really hurts me. There's a lot of OG videos like if Mario was in Portal where everything is Gmod except for Mario, who was mainly in his M64 version in the video. But the modern videos nowadays don't even feel like SMG4. It just feels like a regular Gmod channel with high quality production. Videos like the retirement of SMG3 and Mario's mustache have literally no Mario 64 usage. Absolutely none. I'm that serious, you can go watch them yourself. You know how The Amazing World of Gumball always got praised for using such different types of art styles all together? Well, the style of Gmod and Mario 64, the way SMG4 used it was always so cool to me. And now it just being Gmod is just not so good anymore. Ah jeez, I can't believe I started rambling again, and at the outro as well. I'm sorry, I'm just such a big OG SMG4 fan. I just had to get my feelings about all this new stuff out there. One more last thing.
Related in any way. Oh, you don't know what Metal Runner is? It's SMG4's 3D animated web series on YouTube.
That is not a Carlson reference. I was expecting some people to think that it is, but my god, there were so many of you calling this a Carlson reference, and I just want to tell you that it's not. I just happened to say it like that. Alright, now we're really at the end of the video. Man, it's longer than I thought it would be. If you made it all the way here, then thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope the rest of your day or night goes well, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.